Hello, so welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the conditionals. So this is kind of a basic video to talk about very much the basics of the conditionals. So what we're going to be doing is going through zero conditional all the way to the third conditional. And here we have the zero conditional. So when we're talking about conditionals in general, a conditional sentence it has two parts. The first part is the condition, where the conditional comes from, and the second part is the result. So basically, you do something, which is the condition that you do it, and then something else happens, which is the result. And there are different types of conditions which come under different types of conditional names. So the first one we're going to talk about is the zero conditional. So how do we form the zero conditional? Well, the zero conditional is probably the easiest to form and to remember because all you need to know is the present simple plus the present simple. So let's take a look at the zero conditional. If you heat ice, it melts. Okay, quite straightforward. So here we have our first part of the sentence, which is the condition. So what happens when you heat ice? Well, the result is that it melts, okay? Here and here we have the present simple. So the present simple of heat is heat. And the present simple of melt is melt because we've got the it, so it's the third person singular, okay? Note, in conditional sentences, you will understand it's a conditional sentence because normally you will find an if. So if plus the present simple, comma. So this comma you need to imagine is an imaginary wall. So this part of the sentence is one part and this is the other part. So you have if plus present simple and then plus present simple. So note, in this sentence, okay, you have the if you heat ice, okay, but you cannot put if here. So you heat ice if it melts. No, we cannot do that. Okay, the condition here is if you heat ice, something will happen to that ice. And in this case, it melts. Okay, the same thing with this one. So if you mix red and blue, so when you do an action, if you do this action, you will get a result. What will be the result? Well, the result is you get purple. Okay, so red and blue make purple the color. Again, we have the condition. So mix is the present simple, okay? And get, again, is the present simple. All right? If you stand in the rain, again, the condition. What happens when you stand in the rain? Well, the normal thing that will happen is you get wet, okay? The result of doing this action is you get wet. Now, note, these three sentences, the reason we use a zero conditional is basically for when we're talking about facts, so things that 100% happen. So, for example, water, for example, if you heat ice, okay, ice is a substance made of water, okay? So if you heat ice, factually, there is no denying that it melts, okay? So this is a fact, okay? A fact, red and blue will always make purple. It is a factual thing which cannot change. And again, if you stand in the rain, you get wet, okay? It is a very likely thing that if you stand in the rain, you will get wet, okay? Note one thing as well. In zero conditionals, instead of using if, we can always replace if with the word when. Okay, so when you heat ice, it melts, meaning the same as if you heat ice, it melts. When you mix red and blue, you get purple, and so on, okay? If you stand in the rain, when you stand in the rain. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the first conditionals. So again, this is the second part of the conditional. So we've just done the zero conditional, and this is now the first conditional. So how do we form the first conditional first and foremost. So we use the present simple, okay, for our first part of a sentence. So one block of our sentence is a present simple. And the second part of the conditional sentence, we use will or won't plus the verb, okay? So when do we use the conditional for the first conditional? Well, we normally use the first conditional for things that are possible or likely to happen in the future. So these are not facts, okay? They are not a general truth. So they're not things that will always happen 100%, but they are still very likely to happen or possible things that will happen in the future, okay? So, for example, if it rains, we will cancel the trip, okay? So our condition is if it rains, okay? So if the thing that happens is it rains, then we will cancel the trip, which is the result of the condition or the action or the thing that's happening, okay? Again, here we have rains, present simple, and then in our second block of our sentence, because really we have two sentences, we imagine this comma is separating these two sentences as if they were completely by themselves. So present simple plus the will cancel. So cancel is our verb, and we need to use will, which is the future tense, okay? So if it rains, we will cancel the trip. Again, we need the if for it to be a conditional sentence, all right? So the if is very important. Now, if must always go with the present simple in this case. However, here, it is possible now to move around the order of our blocks. So be very careful when I say blocks. When I say blocks, I mean, if it rains, 1 block. We will cancel the trip, 2 block. Okay, so we've got our first block and our second block. That means that we can say, we will cancel the trip if it rains. That is absolutely fine. But what we can't say is, if we cancel the trip, it rains. No, we can only move around the separate blocks. So if it's in your block, so this is number 1 block and this is number 2 block, then you can move them to a different part in the sentence. So block 1 becomes it goes towards the end, and block 2 will then become at the beginning. Okay, but we can never move if and put it with will or won't. It always has to be if plus present simple. Okay, take a look at the next one. If you study, you will pass the exam. Again, the same thing. Here's the condition, so the action that you do, okay, on the condition, on the if you do this thing, then this will happen, okay? So if you study, then normally what happens is you pass an exam. So if you study, you will pass the exam. Now, this is not 100%. It is not a general truth, because if you're like me and you do study, but sometimes, unfortunately, you don't pass your exam, it does happen. So it can't be used in the 0 conditional. We have to use the first conditional, as it's something that's possible, but can still not happen, okay? So if you study, the present simple, you will pass the exam, which is the result. And again, we have the future, will pass, and the present simple. And again, remember, if you study can be then moved, because it's our block, to the end of the sentence. So you will pass the exam if you study, okay? The same thing as if you study, you will pass the exam. Last one then, if she invites me, I will go. Okay, so on the condition that she invites me, the result is I will go. Okay, and again, the present simple and the future will go. Excellent. So let's go on to our next one, which should hopefully be the second conditional. Excellent. So here it gets a little bit more complicated, in the sense that the second conditional are things that are impossible, things in the present. So right now when we're talking, it can't happen at this moment because let's say it hasn't happened yet, okay? So these things are impossible for the moment because they haven't yet happened. They are things that maybe we want to happen or things that we're thinking about happening, but they haven't happened yet, okay? And they are very unlikely things that could happen in the future, okay? Well, I say very unlikely. They are unlikely things to happen in the future. So these are things that haven't happened yet, things that we would like to happen, okay? But are unlikely. So let me explain that. If I won the lottery, I would travel a lot. Okay, so I obviously haven't won the lottery. Not yet. So it's an impossible thing right now. But it is something I would like to do. And if I did win the lottery, so if I won the lottery, well, what would I do? Well, the result of me winning the lottery would be I would travel. I would travel a lot. Okay, I would go around the world, get on a jet, fly away. So it's something that hasn't happened and is unlikely to happen, okay? But it doesn't mean it's impossible because, hey, who knows? In the future, I could win the lottery, okay? So we use the past simple. So if plus the past simple plus the would plus verb. So one is our past simple. We have if, so if plus one, so if plus past simple. And then would plus the verb, so would travel, okay? Would travel and one. Again, remember we have our two blocks, so block one and block two. If plus past simple, block one, and would plus the verb, block two. Again, we can move them around, we can mix only with our blocks. So block one could then go to the end. So I would travel a lot if I won the lottery, okay? If they sold their house, they would be rich. Well, okay, so they still haven't sold their house, but they know that if they did sell their house, it costs a lot of money, so they would be rich, okay? So it's possible, yes, but we still don't know if they are going to sell or if it's going to work, because some people, I don't know if you know, but selling a house takes a long time and it's not always very easy to do. So if they sold their house, they would be rich. The same thing here, if plus past simple, would plus the verb. So our verb here is to be rich, okay? So be rich, all right? Okay, let's try the last one then. If you went to bed earlier. Oh, okay, so here we do have a error. So quick test. Can we quickly spot the error before I tell you? 3, 2, 1. Okay, so our error here is this if should not be here because, well, as I've mentioned before, we only have if plus past simple in the second conditional. So considering this part of our block is using would, in this case the negative, so wouldn't be tired, we cannot have this if. So goodbye if. Unfortunately, I cannot remove that just yet. So imagine this is invisible. So if you went to bed earlier, okay, if plus went, our past simple, you wouldn't be tired. Okay, so this is one that is much more likely to happen, okay? So you are much more likely to go to bed earlier than win the lottery. However, there are some people that maybe know for a fact that they never go to bed early. But it is something that's impossible right now because I haven't gone to bed earlier. I am tired, okay? So it's the idea in the future that, well, if you do go to the bed earlier than normal, okay, you wouldn't be tired. So it's something that can change in the future and can be done, all right? Okay, so remember this if should not be there. So make sure you do remove that when you're studying. Okay, third conditionals, our final one of the day. So third conditionals, my favorite. Third conditionals are those things that are imaginary. So things that have never happened, will never happen, and cannot be changed. So in the sense of, let me rephrase that. These are impossible things based on things that have happened in the past, okay? think of it like that. So, for example, I had an exam last week. Okay, it was a difficult exam. It was a very difficult exam. I did the exam and I failed it, obviously. Why did I fail? Well, surprise, surprise, I didn't study. So, unfortunately, the action has happened. Has the action happened? Yes, I did the exam. Can it be changed? No, it has already happened in the past. Now, I'm now just thinking back about things that could have been different if at the time I had done something about it. So this is where our past perfect and the past participle comes in. So very quick recap, past perfect is had plus the third column or past participle. So if you're learning with your 3 columns, you have your verb, past simple, past perfect. Okay, so it's the last verb in the column, in the third column, or it's the past participle. Okay, so past perfect had plus past participle or third column plus would have plus past participle. Okay, so in the case of this, if you had studied, so we have if plus past perfect, because our past perfect consists of the verb had plus the past participle of study. So it goes study, studied, studied. In this case, it doesn't change. You would have passed the exam. So we have our would, we have our have, and the past participle of pass is passed. So pass, past, passed. Okay? So, sorry, I've got a bit of a cold today. It's the same thing, the same idea. Okay? If you had studied, well, you didn't. You would have passed the exam, but you didn't. Okay? So these two things are things that have happened in the past and cannot be changed because they have already happened. So you are just regretting something about the past. So it's kind of a regret, I guess, okay? Same thing with number 2. I mean, look at it. If I hadn't been sick, I would have gone to your party. Well, what can I tell you? I'm sorry, but I was sick, okay? I had a terrible, terrible illness, so I couldn't go to the party. The party happened, and now I regret not going because I was sick. Can I change it? No, it cannot be changed because it's already happened. And the same thing here, we have to use the past perfect and the would have plus past participle. So if I hadn't been sick, now the verb to be sick, so this comes from to be sick. So hadn't, okay? Had, again, it could be in the negative, so hadn't. Been sick, so being sick is our past participle. So we have be, was, been, okay? So been sick, which is our past participle. I would have gone to your party. So would have, and then the past participle of go is gone, okay? Go, went, gone. Good. So we need to make sure you remember those. I would have gone to your party. So the condition, well, if on the condition I wasn't sick, I would have gone to the party, okay? And then the last one, oh, I'm sure everyone understands this one. So, I would have gone on holiday if I had more money. Well, unfortunately, I got no money, okay? I have no money. So, I couldn't have gone on holiday. So, I didn't go on holiday because I had no money. So, what are you going to do? I would have gone on holiday if I had more money. Ooh, check this out though. So here, I have actually moved the blocks for us. Remember, if goes into the first block with the past perfect. Now, remember what I said about the other conditionals? Same thing applies with the third conditional. You can change the block order. So, block 1, if I had more money. And block 2, I would have gone on holiday. Now again, quick last mini test before we finish off this video. What is wrong with the last sentence? Does anyone know? Can anyone guess? 3, 2, 1, bing. So the result is, which is our condition? Tell me what the condition is. Okay, well the condition is actually this block here. If I had more money, so on the condition I had more money, what would have been the result? Well, the result would have actually been, in this case, I would have gone on holiday. So, Remember, yes, you can move the blocks to the different ends. So if I had more money, it can go first or it can go at the end. But no matter where you move this will always be the condition. Okay, so this little blue word condition should really be under this block. And the result is always the one without the if. So this should really be under this block. Anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Here, I'm going to leave you now with, again, the generic uses of conditionals. Okay, we've kind of gone through them, but here you have them written down, so you can obviously copy them down in your notebooks, or you can revise them from here. Remember, 0, very quickly, 0 based on facts or general truth. Number 1, so first conditional, possible situation in the future, likely to happen. Okay. Number 2, very unlikely to happen, things that are not true now. Okay, but may be true in the future if we change something about our lives. And then number 3, 100% impossible, can never have happened because it's normally a regret or something that has been done in the past and now you wish you could change it, but you just can't. Okay, cool. So anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, put a thumbs up down the bottom, comment below if this is helping you. Obviously, we are all here to learn English and to improve. So thank you very much. Have a great day, and I will see you guys very soon.